I am so happy to be with you on Cloud Record Music Podcast and YouTube channel. It gave me great pleasure to spotlight my special guest, international cellist Christine Mello. This is a conversation you do not want to miss. You'll be charmed and inspired. Do not go anywhere. And now, a Cloud Record Music Spotlight. Christine Mello is one of Philadelphia gems. She's a multi-genre international cellist, an historian, educator, and recording artist whose passion is making the power and beauty of classical music available and approachable to wider and more diverse audiences. She fell in love with the classical music as an experience and expression of soul-filled emotion. The first time she saw a performance of Verdi's Aida, Christine performed in various orchestras, musical theater, studio, chamber music, and pickup ensemble. She's an adjudicated professor of cello, musicology, a string pedagogy, and music department recruitment liaison. Melo, co-owner of the recording label 2622, released classical recordings on all major platforms with pianist Tom Bonacci and Jono Pablo Casarati, with more to come. In addition to classical recording groups, Melo is the cellist, vocalist, co-songwriter for the art pop band The Transcend. Now I'm excited to have this captivating conversation with someone I have so much admiration for. The talented and gifted Christine Mello was joining us from our hometown of Philadelphia. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome international cellist Christine Mello to Cloud Record Music Podcast. Christine, hello. How are you?
I'm doing great, Maureen. How are you?
Fantastic. You look so great, and I love your set, and it's beautiful.
Thank you. You look awesome, too. This is my studio down here, so it's cozy. It has a whole feeling to it, a whole vibe. And loving your hair, looking awesome.
Thank you.
Style for 2024, loving it.
Yes, yes, yes. And you know, your setting represents you. You have that classic look about you. Of course, you're a cellist, so therefore you have to be classic.
I have to be classic, but also make an impact. So everything I wear is intentional.
Yes. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I've been looking forward to this guest because one, I met her 2 years ago and she played in one of our music videos, Jesus Christ is Lord. And I just felt this connection with her, but I've been just watching her on the social medias and she's gifted, she's talented, and you're about to find out right now. So here we go, my friend. You know, you're an international cellist, as I mentioned before. How did this talent emerge in you? You know, where did it come from?
So first things first, I'm really excited to be here. And Maureen, thank you so much. It's such an honor to be here. And I adore working with you. And just thank you so much. But to answer your question, I always loved music as a kid. You know, even I love the sound of it. Obviously, I love making it. I made a lot of noise. I used to sing a lot, used to bang on the walls. I also love visual art. But it wasn't really until high school that I was introduced to the cello. And it was because I went to a school that had a full orchestral program. That school was known as St. Maria Goretti Catholic High School for Girls and is now known as Goretti as a combined school. And I was so lucky in that they had this program. I didn't know a whole lot about it. I was misbehaving a little bit and acting up a little bit. And I was recommended by a teacher and a nun to take an instrument to put my energy. I had a lot of energy into an instrument. And I actually chose the cello because it rhymed with my last name, Melo.
Really? That's so funny.
My last name is a Portuguese last name. From the island of São Miguel.
Ooh, okay.
At Azores. And so, you know, I had been watching TV. There was a show called Wings. A character played the cello in it. And there I was. It was 1996, acting up in the hallway, and they were like, "You're going to play an instrument, pick one." And I was like, "I guess I'm playing the cello then," because a friend dared me, who also got caught with me in the hallway messing around. And it just kind of worked out from there. I don't know. It really did turn my life around in a lot of ways. Not that I was a bad kid, because I wasn't a bad kid. I was mischievous and got into things. And if I didn't find the value in something, I would often act up. A lot of kids do that.
Yes.
And,
boredom.
Yeah. Or it's boredom. And it's often that the kids are too smart in the stuff that they're, trying to do. And I say this, to anyone watching, I was an educator for 20 years. So we'll get into that in a little bit. But yeah, the cello just kind of stuck with me. I did well in it. I liked the attention that I was getting. It wasn't negative. People looked at me like this as opposed to like this, which I was used to. They were like, "Oh, Christine," as opposed to, "Oh, Christine." And so it was something I really put my heart and soul into.
Which brings me to this. My curiosity is, when did you know that you wanted to do this forever?
That is a really good question. I've actually asked myself that recently. I remember wanting to be a visual artist for as long as I can, as my main profession, for as long as I can remember. But somewhere around junior year, probably when I was 16 or something, the possibility of being a professional classical musician, and then furthermore a classical musician in general, kind of came. I met some people who were already doing it. They brought people into the school to talk to us, and I met them, and I thought, this is actually, I can't believe this is possible. And I looked at the two and I thought, this is the one I'm going to give a shot to. And I keep my visual art, which I still do, as my kind of my hobby. So really, I've seen somewhere.
Wow. Your music, one of the reasons I love your music so much, it brings such light to the world. What type of music do you listen to in your dark moments, if you ever get them? I know I get some moments when it's a little bit dark. Where do you turn? What type of music do you turn to?
That's a really good question. I listen to all types of music, and I really do mean all types of music. You name it, I listen to it, or I will listen to it. And when I'm having a difficult time, I find myself turning to things that are definitely familiar. I find that when I have familiar chord structures and things that I really know, they help me to feel better. And one of the things that I really want to talk about was actually gospel music. Though I'm not particularly religious, I often turn to music because of the chord structure, the shout of it, the structure, the joy in it. Not, yes, the message, but not necessarily pretty much the sound message. Just the same thing. I really do turn to that to really get myself out of a difficult situation. Typically when I'm driving and I'm alone, I'm often thinking, aren't we all thinking to ourselves when we're driving? And that's when sometimes the thought, things hit, and I'll often turn to Ricky Dillard or, some of the major names to feel grounded. And one of the ones, and not to plug here, but one of the ones I really do turn to is you produced There Is a Time.
Right? Because you also played on that as well. Yes.
I did. And, the words to that and that particular phrase from the Bible, there is a time, a time to be born, a time to die, and whatnot. And just those voices, Garrick's and Valerie's voice, those voices, the way they interact and work together, it's just lifting. And then it goes up by a step. There is a time to be born. It's like, it is just.
Wow. Listen to you. Wow. Oh, by the way, she's also a performing artist. She's just gifted.
Buttering me up. Thank you. But definitely got. Now is the There Is a Time. Not Now Is the Time. There Is a Time is one of my anchor pieces that I come back to. So I really appreciate you bringing me in on that, because that's been something. And I'm not blowing smoke at you, for real. It's one of those things that I really anchor to.
I can relate to that, because in the mornings I have certain ways in which I do my meditation and worship. And There Is a Time is one of the songs I listen to consistently, as well as Jesus Christ is Lord. And especially There's a Time, because I'm going through something like you probably do when you listen to it. And the word remind me that nothing remains forever. there's a time for everything, and so it encourages my soul. So I get it. Yeah.
Yeah. The past couple of years have been important. Important change has been made, still needs to be made.
Mm-hmm.
It took us getting to a certain point to finally have those listen to us, and it feels unstable, but we're headed towards stability in these changes. And in a difficult time that we're dealing with now, it's just so nice to have an anchor to remind me that there is a time and we will overcome and we will come past this.
Amen.
So absolutely, especially during that we had recorded it during COVID.
Yes. No, one of the things I admire about you, not only you're a performing artist and all these wonderful things you do, but you're an educator. What are some of the challenges you have come against in the system? Because I know in Philadelphia, they have cut back a lot on the funding for the arts that I think keep children out of trouble. How about you? What are some of the challenges you found in the system that you may, I know you're an activist, which we'll talk about that later, but what are some of your challenges in the school systems?
It's honestly, while I mean, I know the anger is I'm being taxed for education. There's so much money going towards it. Where is it all going? I can tell you that it's not in the classrooms. I don't know, but I can tell you it's not coming to the classrooms and supporting the students and the teachers. And the biggest challenge for me was getting not so much my administration. They were absolutely excellent. I really have to go back and say that my administration was excellent. So I had worked for 20 years as an educator. The last good chunk was high school in Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. Absolutely adored my administration there. It was convincing the system that poor kids need as much as higher income kids. Now, I know that that's obvious and that's evident. Mm-hmm. However, when it comes down to pure paperwork and the funding of things, it's not that evident. I mean, it's evident we know these need this, but that's not where the money's flowing. And it's completely backwards. And so the biggest challenge I found was fighting for the funding to ensure that you have fresh books for the kids, a clean classroom, a safe environment where they feel wanted. And that means that classroom is stocked well. The instruments are taken care of. There is always some kids. And so many times that falls back on the teacher. And we willingly do that. Please don't get me wrong. I willingly went to the store and would buy them pencils. I went to auctions to find instruments, things like that, willingly with my own salary. But I can't fund everything. I can't fund toilet paper for the bathroom.
Right.
I can't someone to clean the floor. I have to do it. I can't fund the paint, but I still did it anyway for the walls, that type of thing. These are human things that really should be taken care of. And that's one of the biggest challenges I see, the aging buildings and the lack of funding, frankly.
And you shouldn't really have to, because like you said, there's a lot of money going to the school system. So obviously management is not something they do well. Well, we're going to move to something a little bit more positive, because I've been excited just to hear some of the pieces that you're going to play for us today. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to hear her live right now. So Christine, tell us what piece you're going to play, and maybe if there's any story behind it, we'd love to hear it. So
in 2018, a friend came to me, Pat D'Amato, he's a pianist, and he said, I found this great piece. I was scrolling through at the time, Pandora, and I found this piece by Sibelius that I'd never really heard before, and he showed it to me. And I got deeper and deeper into this piece and found the following things about it. So Jean Sibelius is a Finnish composer, and there is quite a bit known about him, but there's also parts of his life that we don't have information from. When he was younger, he was actually composing quite a bit. And when I say younger, I'm years old. And I'm actually going to play the main theme of a piece that he wrote for him and his brother, a cellist, pianist, and when he was 9 years old. And it was actually lost until 1995. It was up in someone's attic, and they found it in 1995, brought it to the university in Helsinki, which is where I found this piece in my attic. It might be from Sibelius, who died sometime in the 50s. And turns out it was. There's a whole collection of pieces that Sibelius had wrote as a child. I don't know what you were doing, Maureen, at 9, but I definitely wasn't writing cello. And
I was just trying to learn to read properly, probably.
it was all My Little Pony for me. But
Mm.
I wanted to play the main theme of that for you because I explored that somewhere in 19. I had explored that piece in 2020 and recorded it, and with Devin Eric Taylor, who is an amazing filmographer, who also did your Not There Is a Time, Carmela's
Oh,
piece.
Jesus Christ is Lord.
Beautiful with Austin Woodland at the white piano.
Oh my goodness. Yes, in the park. It was just, and I love the piece with you there in the white. You were fabulous. Yes.
He filmed that. He then conceptualized and filmed a music video based upon this piece and really incorporate a lot of my culture in it, which is Baltic, which is where Finland lays on the Baltic Sea. I am not Finnish, I'm Lithuanian. However, Baltic Sea. And this music video really pays homage to ancestry in the Baltic Sea, and he did a beautiful job with it. And you can find that on YouTube. It's known as Andantino JS40. Look up JS40 and Melo, you'll find it. But I wanted to play the theme because it's so beautiful, and to keep in mind that Sibelius wrote this when he was 9.
Okay. Now, did you record it? And so are they listening to you playing it online?
Yes. So I have a music video. I recorded it and released it. I have my own record label, 2622. You can look it up. And I released this with pianist Tom Fajnat. And so you can find it on all major platforms. Spotify, Twitter. Is it Twitter?
Amazon, all of them. And also we'll have all the links below so they can tap into it. So that's great. So, look for Christine Mello, and all of our pieces is excellent. So make sure you all download it. Now go ahead. We're waiting.
Thank you. And, the piece does really well in Finland. But surprisingly enough, it also does really well in Turkey. So I have a lot of in Turkey. Thank you so much for listening. And yeah, I'd love to play a little bit for you.
Okay, I'm excited.
Let me get this set up. Make sure it's the right size. So I wanted to play the main theme, the two main themes. The piece starts with a theme in the beginning, has a little bit of development, something different in the middle, and then comes back to the theme with this beautiful ending, long tone. Better with piano, but I wanted to play these two bookends for you so that you can hear kind of the ethereal nature of this piece. So what is this piece about? We're not really sure. Again, Sibelius didn't write what it was about, but to me, it just feels like, honestly, falling in love. And how does a 9-year-old know that? Well, a 9-year-old loves his parents, loves his best friend, and so on and so on. He wrote this for. So I'm going to play a little Sibelius for you. That's the first theme. D sharp into an E in C major. So going from re to me. And then it goes on from there. But I wanted to play the theme again and show you how Sibelius actually brings it to the end. It's quite beautiful.
Okay. It is beautiful.
Is really,
I wish this was like an hour show. Just like, keep playing.
Gotta give people to look for. So that's why I wanted to play.
I know, that's right. Just teasing us.
It's a little tease. So here's how Sibelius takes us out at the end. Let me do that again because my cello slipped. Thank
Oh
you.
my goodness, girl. That is so fabulous. That is so beautiful. Ladies and gentlemen, go right away and download that song. All of our songs, just beautiful. Oh my goodness.
Thank
So
you.
good.
It's just he took the same theme and changed it just a little bit, going from re to may, and then from do to do. It was like it's just absolutely gorgeous. This beautiful stretched out C.
Yes, and the video, you must go and watch the video. I'm telling you, it is the most. It's so sensual and but not like negative. It's just beautiful and like Mona Lisa. It's just so nice. It's really, really. So everyone should check it out. It's really, really nice. Now, Christine, music, has the possibilities to break down racism and culture across all aspects. Is it why you so passionate about equity and inclusiveness, even in the type of music that you play? Because I know you work very hard to try to get students that are maybe not as privileged to engage in this type of art.
That I really appreciate approaching this subject with me. It's one of my big talking points. Music is for everyone. That includes classical music. It's no different. Classical music is just a regular style of music that's made. It's not better or worse than anything. It's not high art versus low art. There is no such thing. There is only art. And classical music is really for everybody. If it reached a kid who was playing around, and I was not an upper class kid here. I was a poor kid from a very poor, broken family with house, if you can believe it. I was homeless for part of my life. And I still learned this instrument, and I still function in spaces where this instrument is viable. And that's everywhere, but I'm talking about its original place, its purpose, classical music.
Yes. Yeah.
Because it truly is for everyone. We just have to invest in the education of it and also be open to accepting that classical musicians can look and sound like any one of us.
Right.
And the elitism that can often be found in classical music is absolutely unacceptable. It is out of time and it is no longer needed. When I say out of time, it was for a generation. Multiple generations ago should have undid this, but they didn't. And it's no longer necessary to be that. It was never necessary to be elitist in the first place, but it happened. We should have undid this, and we're watching our audiences leave because we haven't done anything about it. And ways that we can undo elitism the biggest way we can undo elitism in classical music is just to put these programs in schools and teach kids. Because everybody deserves all types of music.
Yes, yes.
Play an instrument and funding it properly in the schools and making sure it's in all the schools. That includes the city schools. Can't ignore them. But then once we're out of the city schools, to build the infrastructure so that city kids can go and go through educational institutions at the same rate that their suburban counterparts do.
Students are, yes.
So I'm needing a little bit more help. But we play.
I think we need like more people like you that are passionate about this, and also the parents to take some very active role in, calling their school district or going, on the school board and fight for these programs and art, because you're right. Music and art for history. A matter of fact, I think a lot of the changes in our world created because of people in this field. Like the Arabella Fonte, which is who you remind me of, that even if it's on the smallest case, but their actions and their passion is creating change for the community and the people. So I am so grateful. As a person of color who is not always exposed to this type of forum, now that I am, it's just so beneficial for everyone. So yes, I'm grateful for you.
Well, I
am grateful for you. Yes.
I'm grateful for you for allowing me into your space, because I'm a student of gospel music. And it's been, my life changed the minute I started putting that sonic language, putting the notes to that sonic language that I had heard in the distance, I had heard in the neighborhoods, I had heard in the streets, I had read about. And to be able to make music with these incredible musicians, you guys are incredible. To understand gospel number and Tennessee number and get to work with some of the greats of Philadelphia. Like, how did I get to work with Zach Williams? Can I just throw his name out there really quick?
Wow, yes.
How lucky am I? And to learn from these amazing folks on how to make this music in an authentic, respectful way. I appreciate you letting me into that space, and it means the world to me. I feel in a lot of ways my true self when I'm making that kind of music with those harmonies. And I so often write them into my own pop music because that's how at home I feel. So I want to thank the first persons to have bring me into that. So I really appreciate that.
You're welcome. But you're in it because you're so gifted. I mean, there's no genre of music that you do not play well in, right? And Austin Woodland, who is our arranger on most of our music, as you know, when we were doing something, especially when it is a classical feel, we thought of you first. So yeah, that's how good you are. You're just outstanding.
I really appreciate that. I pride myself in being a multi-genre cellist, which it'll say there at the bottom. I'm a multi-genre cellist. If there's a style, I play it. And that's, I just think, important for all musicians. And it also goes in breaking down to my colleagues in classical music. The way we break down elitism outside of education is learning how to play in multi-genre spaces. There are so many fantastic musicians that are making high-level music. Difficult. Yes. You can't play because you haven't learned it. And you really should try and really be in awe of these people. Because there's a whole sonic.
I want to give Christine a really great plug. If there's someone who can come across this podcast and they're looking for someone for their music that you're making, and you need somebody with her classical skills as a cello or in a movie, you reach out to her. Now, I know you're in all the platform, but share with them how they can reach out to you and follow you.
You can find me on Instagram at cmellocello. You can find me on TikTok at Christine Mello Cello with a 0. Honestly, if you just plug my name into Google, Christine Mello with the word cello or cellist behind it, I'm going to, you're going to see me come. At Facebook, Christine Mello. It's a goofy name that can't be missed, Mello Cello.
Okay, so make sure everyone that you follow her, subscribe to her, and most importantly, go and get her music. It's available on all music platform, and because we want to make it easy for all of you, we have all of her link below. So make sure you don't bypass her. Go and support her. And I'm sure, Christine, if someone, say, in another country want to fly you over to do something, I'm sure the price is right. You won't say no, right?
No, I actually do travel to Europe, especially to play. I was last in Italy before COVID. I haven't really been traveling much outside of the United States since COVID. However, that's changing this year. I'll be traveling more this year and opening that booking up. So if you need a cellist in, you name it, I'm there. And I love to play and I love to pick up styles. And what's most important is I love to learn. So whatever it is, I will learn and I will do it. And I will do it with the most excellence because that's how I pride myself. So I'd love to work on your project no matter where you are.
Amen. And I am honored to have you as our first guest for season 2. Yes, we're into season 2. Cloud Record Music Podcast. We're growing. Amen. So you're the first guest. So I am so honored and so happy to have you. And so, ladies and gentlemen, make sure that you subscribe to Cloud Record Music Podcast. Like us. It's important that you like us and share. Okay. And we're just so pleased you're here as well, joining us. Look for us in a couple of weeks. We're here every 2 weeks. So thank you, everyone, for tuning in. And remember, go and download Christine Mello music. It's available everywhere. Thank you for watching, Christine. It's a pleasure.
It's a pleasure, Maureen, always.
Goodbye, everyone.